Okay, today's just going to be a quick video because I do have the hood open. Nothing special, DBI like I said. Some wires are redone. The whole entire power wire and ground system has been redone on this truck because it had the bad wiring where it'll crack and get them all kinked up, and there's wiring exposed, and that's because it sat forever. But got ARB dual air compressor, works very well for airing up 39s. Strongly recommend it. The crappy part about it is I have to relocate where my overflow is for my radiator. I don't have one right now, and nobody wants coolant spilling all over the trail. But it might go over there, or that windshield wiper. That one's cracked, I believe, because the wiper motors still work on this truck, believe it or not. But that is cracked, so it leaks when you put it in it, so I don't even use it. But like I said, that's the North Texas, I think, or West Texas they call it, mod for the pump for the hydraulic steer. Crawl across this bumper, it's slippery. Well, it is like a radiator hose with some type of cap that's the same size, and it gives you a little bit extra. I have a PSC reservoir that I bought at a local 4x4 shop for it. Brand new pump, braided lines, 16 into the pump, because that's what factory came on it. Flare fitting, I had to buy that. And then this pump right here, or the gearbox, is for it's a Saginaw, and I don't remember the numbers, but it's probably said to be like a Saginaw 800 or whatever was in the 73 to like 80. So it needed 11/16 pressure fitting. And then I had the speed shop here locally cut me like, I think that's 2 feet a line. I can cut it down, but I just left it extra. But probably should cut it down. But I'm not done tinkering with the little tiny stupid things. That's the fitting, and then it's still using the GM return line, which needs a fitting, and I got a fitting in the house, but I need I think it's 5/8 for this gearbox, because they're not the same as the 80s. So when you do hydraulic steering and you switch to two-wheel drive steering box, make sure you consider this, because nobody explains this. You will need fittings for non-flare if it's 70 or 80 and under truck. In the 80s gearboxes use the flare end with the O-ring, or not flare, but the O-ring fitting, I should say. And those are one's 18 on the 80s, and the other one's 16, I think. I don't remember what the return line is. Let's just put it that way. I think it's a 16. And there's the old pump. I gotta return that. And then the new pumps that they make now, this edge right here does not work with your factory mounting brackets for 80s model when you get a pump. And I drilled out the fitting in there to 5/32 to get better flow as well on the new pump. So I got to return this because I got a core on that. That I could probably return too. That's got a core. But this is my factory 80s gearbox. And because of the rag joint not having a threaded end here, you can't use it. You need a two-wheel drive box. That's a 4x4 box. I could still use it. I could put the rag joint from that two-wheel drive in this box, and then I'd be able to retain my factory power steering lines. But what I had to do, I needed the two-wheel drive box, and the two-wheel drive box worked is This cap right here is a smaller cap. I would have had to use this box. I have to use the hydraulic assist cap from Kurt, the smaller one. This is a smaller cap, and mine right here has the larger cap. And like I said, I got the whole rebuild kit. It was like $28 for the whole gearbox. You gotta make sure you get the correct gearbox rebuild kit, but this is the large cap, and I'm getting a little bit of leakage because I gotta take this off. I'm not ready to do it right now. I can leak a little bit. Still got steering, but this snap ring right here, I don't know if I bent it. It doesn't want to seat in it correctly. It has the new O-ring in it, or new seal O-ring in it. So I just got to put that new snap ring in, and it should stop leaking. And then I need to probably go pull the rag joint out and redo the seals in here. So I gotta wait till my daughter is not in school, because I need to use this truck. So I'm getting a little bit of leakage from it, but whatever, it works still. I'll show you how nice it steers. Some people have issues with it, when whine and complain. You don't have to buy for hydraulic steering, cheap and affordable, you know what I mean? You don't have to buy the whole PSC kit. The RAM will work with mostly any modifications, but those are 39-inch tires, and you know, I need a new V-belt too. That's all the way. That's all the way. Top up. This is just me steering it. Ooh. That belt needs to be replaced big time. It's not on the list though, but you can see how easy it steers. Doesn't sound like that when you're moving it though. Probably should swap that over to a serpentine anyway, but that's a problem altogether. The problem is when you change out these belts, pulleys, the shitty, and I mean the shitty tool that you can go buy. I bought multiple ones thinking, oh yeah, well this store brand will work, that store brand work. Nope, they're all fucking the same. The one that I just bought, the bolt itself, I bought one from Harbor Freight, figuring it'd be cheap and effective to do my Denali. Nope, every bolt stripped out, and it ruined the threads even in the pump that threads the piece in it to put it back on. And it only did it when it was putting it back on. It took it off perfectly fine. The one that I bought from AutoZone, it took the pulley off perfectly fine off the old pump. But putting it back on, it got halfway on there, and then decides to just rip the threads right off of the bolt, not out of the pump. Because you look at, after like further investigating why it did it, it's a fucking aluminum bolt. Out of all things, not a grade 8, an aluminum bolt. So I don't know what, and then you charge you $50 for that pulley puller. I don't know why people are so damn cheap when it comes to things like that, but you can understand when you're trying to do something, you shouldn't have to buy 2 of the tool to do it when they're $50 a piece, and they know what they're doing that shit on purpose. They could put a grade 8 bolt in it, or if you do buy it, please just go ahead and take the bolt, go to any type of bolt supply place, get a grade 8 bolt way before you start the project. It would, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have the heartache that I have when you take off a goddamn power steering pump bolt, or go suck up the costs, buy a snap-on one, and call it a day, because it's probably not going to strip out. But that's my short clip I was airing up tires with the ARB twin. That tire was giving me shit. Like, then once a week I get air up one of these shitty tires. Never this front one. This one has, you know what I mean, like 40% tread on it. Okay, but like I said before, I got the wheels for $400. I wasn't buying IROC tires, but they are good. I like the tire, but I don't like how street slicks they are. And that I might as well just explain it before I cut myself off here. I bought the PSE Ram from 4 Wheel Parts, and there was a shipping delay, and they wanted to fuck you around. It's 8-inch stroke PSE Ram, and I live in Arkansas. Little did I know, they're only the actual place is only 5 hours away, and it took them 3 weeks to get that to me. And I started bitching when I found out to them and to PSE. He's like, I could just go pick that up, and then nobody was going to give me a solid answer. It turned out PSE was having an issue with the new computer system, and they couldn't make shipment orders because he had 180 of those in stock. I actually personally talked to him, so that calmed me down being angry about it. But then again, 4 Wheel Parts could have told me that there was a delay because they're the vendor. Oh, well, PSE's a vendor to 4 Wheel Parts. I could have went and picked up that Ram sooner, driving just 5 hours. So it's like that with a lot of stuff, with their whatever computer system they're trying to run. It's a PSE Ram, 8-inch stroke, 80, between 73 and 80 gearbox, and it has there's 4 of these notches on this rag joint, and this steering arm would go with that. There's multiple different arms like this too that work with different gearboxes, in case nobody knows that. A lot of people don't explain that either. So if you got a 3 on here, there's an arm that has just 3 on it. So make sure you take that in consideration when you do hydraulic steering. Like I said, you don't need to go out and pay $1,500 to get hydro assistance. That mount right there is from DIY 4X, DIY 4x, whatever you want to call them. Good buddies, though. I just say DIY 4X because that's how you write it when you search it. That's on there. You got to weld it to the tube. It's the second time I welded that on there because I didn't have the Ram and I had the mount and I welded it. It was right where this mark was in there, and I needed just a little bit more room for clearance, like I said, because it's an 8-inch stroke, and this is a GM dually, 6-inch Ram, 1.5, I believe, in the rod will definitely work, and you wouldn't be running into your leaf spring plates if you got the notch for moving the axle forward from Kurt or other brands that are like that tall. If anybody understands what I mean about it. But the mount right here, dirt cheap. I think it was like $70 for that. This cap, it was like no more than this cap right here was no more than $50, and it doesn't vary on the size. And he has the 2 sizes, and he might even have 3 sizes of it. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I know he has the large cap and the smaller cap for the Saginaw boxes. If you're doing a hydro assistant on a Jeep, and you don't need a reservoir. I got a reservoir just because the local 4x4 shop, I was walking through looking at everything they just had laying around, and their shock, the room that they had all their shocks in, I noticed that at the corner of my eye, I'm like, what are you doing with that? It was an older reservoir, said to be never used, but I bought it. I got to get it on there. I got to figure out, in order to use it, I got to take this whole tube off. This works. This is a vacuum bleed system, so you got to make sure that you have fluids in there before you run your engine. So it's got to be in there, and you will don't fill it all the way up. fill it like to just past where the cap would actually be. You got to have that cap off, and then turn side to side slowly, because it will push out the cap out of it, because it's got to be open to bleed it off, because this is a vacuum system. I'm pretty sure you could do the same thing with Hydro Boost. Probably could have went that way. It'd be better on my brakes anyway. But in order to make my PSC reservoir work, I'd probably have to take the factory cap, put it back in it, drill it out, and get some kind of line that connects to the main feed, and bolt it and probably somehow seal it, and have that line come back up into the reservoir that'd be mounted on, I believe this would be an AC bracket. But anyway, little technical information, but if you have the extra money, $700 well spent. That ARB right there, twin, not the single, the twin. And I had money into the fittings too, because it does not come with the fittings. That right there for airing up tires is perfect. Can't complain about it. And the only reason why I got that is, a long story short, is we had that snowstorm, and like I said, this tire right here, I know why they deflate now, because it's damp out, and I had to air it up. These weather cracks right here bleed off air in them. You can see it right here, right there, bleeding off air, seasoned cracks, whatever you want to call them. It was a slow leaker in winter, and it had pressure in it, and once these things run down to a certain pressure, you really can't tell. If you bump it off of something, it'll just deflate. And I keep a jack in my truck, so in order to air it up, and this is Arkansas, so you can understand how things are. When it snows here, everything, because of the hills, is shut down. So some places would be open. This truck will go anywhere. Ran it to a Walmart that had a gas station at it, and bumped this off. This parking lot was filled with snow. Bumped this off of one of them parking stops in the parking lot, and it was one of them concrete ones. And went in the store, was only in there for like 20 minutes, got some stuff to eat for the house, came back out, tire deflated. It's like, okay, I'll just run it on a flat up to that gas station, air it up. You know what I mean? When you have a solution to things, you have a solution to things. So get all the way to the gas station. It doesn't, the air pump there, out of all the other air pumps that I've seen, does not take a card. I was like, okay, we need change. I ran it one time and thought it would air up. I had enough change to run it once. Start putting air in it, in the bead lock part on the back side of the tire and this side, just because I drove it for maybe like 100 feet. It rolled whatever it did whatever to the bead. So when you air these up and it's completely flat, you got to put a jack up, get the weight off it, and then pop the crease out of the tire. And when you put air in it, it'll air right up, because it's a double beadlock tire, or double beadlock rim. And I never did that. Realized my fuck up after it turned off, what I had to do, because I never really had it deflate completely on me. So put the jack up under it, go walk back down to Walmart to get change, and because there's a snowstorm, the dicks are like, we don't have change. I'm like, what the fuck? I need to air up a tire. Nope, they don't got change. Okay, the gas station that I was at was closed, so that kind of aggravated me, because that was closed too. But you know what I mean, the snowstorm shuts everything down. the Shell gas station was open. Do they have change? No. When I sent my wife to there because I had my daughter with, so I had to sit in the truck and wait, and I didn't want to run 2 blocks on a flat just to air it up. When she said that, and the guy's like, no, a guy with over a Range Rover, he was driving, ARB everything, bumpers. He's like, I got an air compressor in my truck. Just tell me where he's at, and I'll go air him up. He shows up, and he told me the same thing he told my wife. And I'm thinking he's going to pull out like some kind of Craftsman DeWalt or something like that, air compressor. No. He plugs it right into the engine bay, and I'm like, oh, you got onboard air on that? Yeah, it's the ARB Twin. And it aired that tire up faster than the actual gas station pump. And I got a smaller IR dual tank, and it has the same size motor as the ARB. It doesn't air this tire up as fast as, you know what I mean, you'd think it would. It takes a half an hour to air this tire up with that smaller IR air compressor, whatever it is. It's blue. I got it for that air compressor for like $40. It worked, but you know what I mean, it's annoying when you gotta air up a tire this size and you're in a hurry. Aired this thing up in a minute and a half, fast. And the driver's side needed air and started putting air in it, and then the valve stem stuck down and it froze because I used it over here and it got water and it froze the air stem down, and we had to put new stems in it. He just happened to have air stems with him too. And I'm like, how do you got all this stuff? He's like, oh, I was deployed. This guy he's a pilot for the Air Force, let's just say. And he got sent here to fly the big AC-130s and the jets and everything else here, and the helicopters, everything you can think of. He's like, I was in Africa deployed, and this vehicle came with me, and because they don't have tire shops there, that's why he had all that stuff with him. So it's pretty goddamn cool to know that. And ever since I seen that air compressor, know what it did to this tire, made me want one. And I got I seen one at the 4x4 shop, and I'm like, oh good, I am not ordering that, I'm buying that right now. So I gotta make it back there because they got a lot more stuff at that shop too, just sitting on the shelves that nobody wants to buy. Because I believe I asked about them, they got Warren lockouts for 35 spline. And like I said, I got the Yukon stub shafts from a guy that buys delayed freight or lost in the mail freight, and he bought a trailer full, semi-trailer, and in the back of the semi-trailer was a pallet full of 35 spline shafts for Kingpin Dana 60. The most were long, and he had the stub shafts too. And he said he took the pallet, it was full. There's a lot there still. He's got 15 of the long shafts. He didn't have any of these end shafts. He had the stubs though for the ends, pretty much. Well, the stub shafts. Everybody knows that. He said he took them to Memphis car show and sold at least 40 of them. So, and he was selling them for $250 a piece. I got them for $150. That's how lucky of a guy I am. So you can't complain, and I believe them things are, right now, because of shipping, are getting hard to get. East Coast Gear Supply didn't have any of those. They had their brand of the 35 spline stubs with drive flanges. I get that confused with things. Drive flanges. Let's just say it. Drive flanges. But anyway, enough of me talking. That was just me. It's just me showing you my engine bay, because I was trying to do that. There was a part 2 of the last video. Decided to keep all that out because it's just me babbling on. And I babble on a lot. I know a lot of stuff. Like I was saying in that video I would have posted. If you have any questions, like, subscribe, share. It helps me out. Probably get more videos, because I've been doing lots of work to this, and right now it's why not, you know what I mean? Because I make just clips right now, and I figured why not just make videos of me doing stuff. I'm recording things with my phone, so you kind of got to understand that. So it's just me explaining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for viewing. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.